Welcome to Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show. I am Kyle Anthony, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the betting show for UFC on ESPN, Giga Chikadze versus Calvin Kattar. We got two plays here we're going to talk about. We're going to break down the main event as well as the co-main event. Two plays there. Excited to talk about it. It's good to be back. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. All those things. Haven't seen you guys since then, so let's get it going. It's good to be back here. We're coming up 2 years in a row. We've got 61% return on investment for our client plays. If you're interested right now, I've got 4 client plays loaded, linked down in the description if you're interested. But if you just want to talk some free plays, we are going to be doing that today. And also, what I do want to say before I get into this is a lot of these videos here, I just keep talking. I don't know how to shut up. I keep talking. I keep breaking these down. So I'm going to try to consolidate this a little bit more, still give you all the information that I do have, but I want to try to make these shows a little bit smaller than I normally do to just get the plays out there, tell you why, because I want you to know why, and break this down deep, and then as well as give you the play. So we're going to try to get this a little bit quicker than we normally do, try to get you all that information that we can. So with no more interruptions here, let's get right into the main event of the evening between Giga Chikadze and Calvin Kattar. Now this fight here, you've got Giga, he's minus 250. On the other side here, you've got Kattar, who's roughly around the plus 200 mark, give or take what sportsbook you look at there. And like we always do, we're going to talk 3 fights for each fighter, see what we see if one fighter can expose the other, and if the line makes sense to place a wager. So the first one we're going to be talking about here is Calvin Kattar. 3 fights ago, he fought Jeremy Stephens, and this was an interesting fight here if you take a look at it here. This was one that when I went back and reviewed it, the interesting portion of this, for the most part, really was what happened in that first round. And we all remember the fact that, Stephens got knocked out in that second round with a beautiful elbow from Kattar. But if you really looked at it in that first round, Jeremy Stephens was bringing it to Calvin Kattar. He was going in there, he was landing nice shots, had nice pressure, pushing forward, kind of bullying around Kattar up against the fence a little bit. Kattar kind of looking for more space. As you consistently saw, just Stephens does not care. He's looking to brawl. He wants to get in tight. He was landing nice leg kicks, good combinations, keeping Kattar on his back foot basically the entire round in that first round there, up until finally Kattar at the end of that first round kind of started letting his hands go a little bit. But really, the first round was all Stephens. Heading into that second round, kind of the same thing. You saw, Stephens walking him down, throwing big kicks, mixing it up. But finally, you did see Kattar kind of have a step-in elbow, landed beautifully, dropped Stephens, completely opened up his face, blood everywhere, and that's really where Kattar jumped on top, got the finish. But if you do look back, up until that point, Kattar was losing. Kattar was losing that fight, definitely, up to that point. Again, the pressure kind of looked to give Kattar a little bit of problem, but he found the shot, and that's, again, Kattar has that high-level boxing. He was able to kind of utilize his hands, get the finish, and there you have it there. 2 fights ago, he fought Dan Ige. This was an interesting fight here where once you take a look at this fight, you really do realize that this was a great fight stylistically for Calvin Kattar, where Ige, he does have the wrestling, but really it's going to be a stand-up game there where you're going to see Kattar really able to utilize his boxing, not have to worry about other weapons that Dan Ige has. Ige's more of a boxing dominant kind of fighter himself there, so it was really a good stylistic matchup for him. Kattar goes in there, utilizes his range, great handwork, just really peppering him throughout the fight. Did a great job there. I really liked what I did see there where Kattar had the pace, put the pace on him. And the one thing here that I thought that you didn't see really with Kattar in the fight prior against Stephens was Kattar fought angry. Kattar was bringing this fight to Ige. He was not allowing to be backpedaled, and I think that's something that he knew he needed to correct in that fight against Stephens. Was really Stephens was finding that success, and then finally he ended up landing the shot. Where here he brought the fight to Dan Ige, really walked him down, looked great, was winning all around in the stand-up game. A couple nice shots I got to say by Ige landed, but overall a great showing for Kattar there. Kattar goes out there and wins unanimous decision. And then most recently, he fought Max Holloway. Now, we're not going to have to break this one down too deep because it was just an absolute beating from Max Holloway. He just, from beginning to end, really outboxed, outstruck Kattar. And the big part here was everyone's talking about who's the best boxer in MMA. Who's the best? Is it Max Holloway? Is it Calvin Kattar? Who is it? And I think we got our answer there, where he literally beat the shit out of Kattar pretty much all rounds. It was dominant, and you really just saw how well-rounded and just the overall striking skill set of Max was way too much for Kattar. He goes out there. He did show durability in there, but he goes out there and he loses a decision against Max Holloway. On the other side here, you've got Giga Chikadze. 3 fights ago, he fought Jamie Simmons. Not going to get into this one here because Jamie Simmons was a sacrificial lamb in this fight here. 7-4, I think, was his record. Giga's just way ahead of him when it comes to the striking realm. Goes in there, started landing nice shots. Again, you saw this was a spot here where Giga was able to show off his kickboxing and just his range and just how high level of a striker he is. He goes out there and gets a first-round knockout victory over Jamie Simmons. And then 2 fights ago, he fought Cub Swanson. This was an interesting fight here where it's really that next level up for Giga. Can he fight a guy who's really been around, a crafty, grizzled veteran in Cub Swanson? How would he be able to handle that? Cub is well-rounded. He's going to look for the takedowns, utilize some of his grappling, and those kind of things kind of implementing into it, as you do know that Chikadze has, high-level kickboxing background, but does he have the well-roundedness to get past someone like Cub Swanson? And boy, did he pass that test with flying colors. And really the big thing here is when you're looking at somebody who has this really strong kicking game, is you got to smother them. You got to get in tight. You can't allow them to really set and fire their offensive attack. You really got to get in their face, make it dirty, get in front of them, not allow them to settle. And that was really, you could tell that was really the game plan going into this for Cub Swanson. He said, I got to get in tight, I got it in close. And as soon as Giga kind of started to land some shots, you did see Cub start to backpedal and say, holy shit, this guy's got a lot of weapons here. And then he ended up landing a beautiful liver shot, drops Cub Swanson, and there he gets on top of him, ground and pound, gets the finish, ends up finding the finish again in that first round. A great showing for him, and that really showed that, he is somebody to be really reckoned with in this division. So he goes there and gets the victory there. And then most recently, he fought Edson Barboza. Now, I feel like this fight is a fight that people don't really talk about very often. I mean, leading up to this, I'm not really hearing a lot of people saying, wow, that fight against Barboza, was really spectacular. And you go back, and beating Edson Barboza in a kickboxing match is really impressive. I mean, they're both obviously high-level kickboxers, elite level, when it comes to that. But going in there, and he really looked confident, comfortable, just overall looked good. And this was a spot here where early you saw both of these guys throwing leg kicks. And that is something that I definitely know that Giga is going to bring into Saturday night. But you did see that not only was Giga able to land them, he was able to check some of Edson's leg kicks as well, which we know how, fast and just how snappy he's able to fire those body kicks and leg kicks. Barboza's able to, as well as Giga is. But the fact that he was able to check a bunch of those shows, again, just his skill set is off the charts in the stand-up realm. So he goes in there, and I think the one thing here that you do see Giga do in this fight was he was able to start to get the timing. And I think both of these guys kind of came out, and they were fine, firing their shots. But I loved the way that Giga was able to kind of figure out the timing, what he needed to do going into that second round, and then into that third round, he was finally able to land a nice shot, hurt Barboza, and then he was, again, the killer instinct. He was able to go in there, find the shots. Barboza got back up, he dropped them again, and ended up getting the finish. I thought it was just really impressive. Just going out there and beating Edson Barboza in a kickboxing match is pretty damn impressive. He gets the finish there, so there you have it there. With that being said, now you take a look at it here. Obviously, you've got Kattar, who, world-class boxing, really has, elite level striking with his hands, slick combinations. He has good distance management. I think his fight IQ, he's very intelligent out there. He doesn't just, anything he throws is not just, just throwing it randomly. He's really either looking to set up something, fake, feint. He definitely has good movement out there. That's helped him to find these victories, leading up to this point. And their side there, you've got Chikadze, top-level kickboxer. We've talked about that. And really the finishing ability, he has that. You see that he has that. Great distance management. I mean, he really has great distance management. And also he's getting more comfortable in an MMA cage. You could see early in some of these fights, he wasn't as comfortable. You could see that, and you could definitely tell that it was just a little bit different. And I think he's making a lot of strides, really able to kind of be more well-rounded, be a little bit, not as one-dimensional, just kind of focusing on kickboxing. He's really adding tools to his arsenal there, so I like that there. Now, there's a couple big things here that we take a look at here when you're breaking this fight down, and one of the biggest things here is the arsenal of weapons that Chikadze has compared to Kattar. Now, Kattar has, obviously, he's got the boxing, and he's got some finishing ability, and he's definitely rangy with his combinations, but Giga has just so many weapons. I mean, he's able to fire off these kicks. He's able to mix up these combinations. His distance management is great. His movement also is another really big part of this, is his movement, his angles that he works those combinations. Just, he's really high level in the stand-up game. And when you've got somebody who is predominantly going to be looking to box, I don't think that's enough. That's just nothing. Giga has seen that. Giga has been in these kickboxing matches with elite level guys, and not saying that Kattar isn't, but what I'm saying is just worrying about hands, not really worrying about any of the kicking game that Kattar brings to the table. Chikadze should really capitalize on that. I think that's going to be something you're going to see early in the fight. I think Kattar's going to look to kind of close distance, as Cub did, look to kind of close distance, try to fight in a phone booth, not allow Chikadze to kind of settle and fire off his kicks. That's easier said than done, that we know. But another big part of this is the fact that Kattar struggles checking leg kicks himself. Now, that is going to be, I think, a weapon you're going to see early. Chikadze is going to be firing that. I think he's going to be looking to kind of slow down any of the movement of Kattar, and as well as take some of that power away from Kattar's punches, working on his base, working on his foundation, slowing him down, and I think that's going to be a massive part of this. I think that, to me, is really going to be big. But if you really, again, and I just talked about it, is another part of this is the fact that he just beat Edson Barboza in a kickboxing match. I mean, that is really, really impressive, and it says a lot with the weapons that Barboza has. He was able to go out there and get that finish. I think that really says a lot. But a big part of this, really for me here, and really where it kind of turns me into the prop bet that I'm going to be placing here, that we do know, obviously, Kattar, plus 200. You got Chikadze minus 250. We're going to get off that number there. Honestly, I like you got to go out there and get the job done here. Not willing to pay up at a straight bet at minus 250. So what I like here is a prop bet here. And the reason why I like this particular prop bet is because of the durability of Kattar and what he's shown when he's out there. Over the last 2 fights, he's made it to the decision. He's fought 5 rounds. He's fought hard rounds. And he's able to take the shots. Somebody like what he did against Max Holloway. Max Holloway was landing bombs throughout that fight. Kattar took some shots, looked beat up, but kept going. And that shows not only just the durability, because he's going to need that in this fight. I believe he's going to need that durability with Giga firing up, the weapons that he has. But the fact that he's got the cardio, he's got the gas tank to just keep going, keep putting out a pace, keep at least, not just, we've seen Barboza, he's had some chin situations, he's had gas tank issues. Kattar is at least able to last, and he's lasted in fights that have had a lot of output, even against Dan Ige. It's a 5-round fight where there was a lot of output. There was just a lot of volume from both sides where he's landing and he's throwing. He's able to make it through that. That's what starts to make me think this is a good spot for a decision, even with the activity that Kattar has. So not only is he Could he have, he's got the gas tank, he's got the durability, but he's got the at least output and activity to at least keep it going, keep this fight going. So for me here in this spot here, I think it's a great spot to take Giga Chikadze via decision. Plus 270 is the number. I love that number. I think that's definitely worth the sprinkle. I think it's absolutely a nice prop play to have here. So as my first replay will be Giga Chikadze via decision plus 270. And the last play we're going to talk about here is Katlyn Chookagian versus Jennifer Maia. Right now you've got Chookagian, she's around minus 184. You've got Maia, who's plus 148 roughly, plus 150. And real quickly I'll go over this one here. And the first thing here is I was actually pretty, impressed with the last two fights of Chookagian. And both of these fighters are pretty similar to who she's fighting, to Maia. And you've got Vivian Arguello and you've got Cynthia Calvillo. Both of these ladies are very similar to the skill set of Jennifer Maia. And you've got Cynthia, she's the grappler, she's fine kind of pushing forward. She's maybe not as strong as Maia. I think Maia's got a little bit more, a little more build to her. But it's the same kind of thing. She's fine kind of going in there, firing shots, but then looking to level change, looking to get the grappling involved. And in that fight there, I really like the pace that Chookagian put out there. I think that she looked good defending those takedowns, keeping the movement. That's something that Chookagian has great. She's able to move around the cage really well. And she goes out there in 30-27s, Calvillo, and then even against Vivian, she did the same thing. I thought she looked good, kept busy. Even when she's not landing, she's throwing out volume, and that really helped her very well. Even in the spot against Vivian, she had Vivian got on top of Chookagian, and Chookagian was still able to kind of work her way out of that and get back to standing. And at that point there, Vivian has issues with gas tank. That's really where Chookagian kind of started to take over the fight, throwing good volume, ended up getting another decision victory there. Looked great. And the other side here, you've got Jennifer Maia, who you got to give her credit. She, had somewhat of a close fight against Valentina Shevchenko. Didn't get finished. You got to say that's impressive there. And then she ended up beating Jessica Ai, and Jessica Ai is more known for OnlyFans than she is for MMA cages. But either way, she goes out there and she did beat Jessica Ai and had a good show against Valentina Shevchenko. But the big thing here for me, and when you're looking at these two ladies here, is Chookagian's footwork and her striking and her just the output that she puts out and the angle she's working, she's actually not that bad. I mean, she doesn't have this high variety of strikes and she's not this flashy striker, but she is someone who's going to put a pace on you, who's going to keep putting volume out, who's going to keep pressing, and is not scared to do it. And she's going to keep doing it. She does that kind of annoying yell, and sometimes that may kind of give her, hey, it sounds like she's landing shots, because sometimes she'll win a round and it doesn't seem like she did, or maybe she didn't land it, but the yelling does help. It's annoying, but it does help. So she keeps throwing. She's got that activity, and that has helped her in fights, winning on the scorecards. But you add in not only the fact that she's got the good output, she works the angles, she keeps activity high, but you also add the fact that she's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage over Maia, and that's also going to help. Not only is she have that reach advantage, but she's very rangy. She's definitely very rangy, where she really extends her arm when she's throwing these combinations. That does help even further on that reach advantage as well. So you add that in, and plus you add in the fact that Maia's going to be looking for some of these takedowns, but you've seen Chookagian being able to kind of work out of those positions, and that really is more or less going to be some of the path for Maia to get this victory here. But with that being said, I've got the prop play here that I'm going to be playing, and the reason why here is, the first thing is the fact that Chookagian doesn't finish anybody. She's unable to finish anybody in the cage. When you look at it here, since she has entered the UFC, she's had 13 fights. She has 9 wins over that span. 0 have come by way of finish. All of them are decision victories. And on the other side here, you've got Jennifer Maia. Jennifer Maia, last time she was finished was 2012 against Sheila Gaff in Cage Warriors. So she has, both of these women have really shown that
you know what, Maia doesn't get finished really too easily. And then on the other side of that, and you saw that even against Shevchenko couldn't finish her. And then you've got Chikadze, who just is more of just going to point fight. She's going to just look to put the volume out. She's going to just pepper you with shots. That's where she's hoping to kind of bring it to a decision. Even when she finds herself in top control or in a dominant position, she doesn't look for the finish. She's kind of more looking to just, let me have 2 minutes on top. And that, again, in women's MMA, that is massive. Top control, and that's where she's going to chip away in the scorecards. I think that's enough, and Maia having the durability is really going to help. So for me here, I think getting off the roughly -200, -190 number on Chookagian, you do Chookagian via decision -110. I think in some other books I'm seeing it at a slight plus number, but either way, I like this. I think this is a great spot. Maia can't be finished. And Chikadze can't finish anyone. She has zero strength when it comes to that, but she will point fight her to death. So I like that as another free play. Katlyn Chikadze via decision -110. So those are my free plays for UFC on ESPN this Saturday night. We are back. I am really excited to talk about next weekend's fight. Really excited. Got a lot to talk about there. But if you want to look at my client plays, link in the description. I've got 4 plays up right now for clients. And this is Kyle Anthony's UFC Betting Show, and I'll see you next time.